Thank you, Rocket Money, for sponsoring today's episode.
You know, when we think of things, at least our family, you know, me and my husband always have conversations, you know, if something happened to us, we have this, you know, we have this lined up for our children. This was unexpected. You know, we would have never thought in a million years we're worried about us living, you know, or not being here for a certain period of time and the kids having to figure it out without us being here. But we're trying to figure it out without my daughter being here, without our daughter being here, because she played such a vital role. She was like second mom, you know, she's my oldest, you know, my first daughter. So having her showed me how to be a mother. My daughter played in sports, cheers, you know, she was active in church, Girl Scouts, so a lot of people knew her.
New tonight, we're learning the victim of a deadly shooting in Fayetteville was the teenage daughter of a city councilwoman.
She was found in a home here behind me in the 2000 block of Maitland Drive yesterday at around 7 p.m. 15-year-old Coryonna Young was a 10th grader at 71st High School and the daughter of councilwoman Courtney Banks McLaughlin. She was found yesterday with a fatal gunshot wound and was pronounced dead on scene.
Since the incident, I've been over to the home multiple occasions. You know, I've spoken to him to tell him I'm hurt.
Officials say the individuals involved were both teenagers and they knew each other. We've been talking to neighbors in the area here who knew the victim and the suspect, many telling us it's shocking to hear about this. A lot of neighbors saying they have kids that go to school with both teenagers.
It has been a somber day here at 71st High School. I did get a chance to talk to Courtney Banks McLaughlin. She's a city councilwoman whose daughter was killed. And now the family can't believe that the 10th grader is gone.
The detectives said that it was, they truly believe that it wasn't an accident. Allegedly, he was playing with the gun and the gun went off and shot and killed him.
Fayetteville Mayor Mitch Colvin says, "We are all heartbroken to hear about the tragic loss of our colleague's daughter. Our thoughts and prayers are with Councilwoman Banks McLaughlin and her family. This is the second time this month 71st High School student has been shot to death."
Claims he didn't know. I didn't have a conversation with him. Detectives said he did not know.
So far, no arrests or charges have been made in the case. Everyone is waiting for the autopsy report to get back to determine the exact cause of death.
It was a ghost gun. And at the time, I have never heard of a ghost gun. I'm like, what is a ghost gun? And that's when they explained to me that a ghost gun is guns that cannot be traced. They printed out different parts of a gun and put it, kind of like put it together.
Creating documentaries is a passion of mine, but managing the finances can be quite a challenge. From budgeting for our projects to covering the cost of travel and renting out safe spaces for families to share their stories, every dollar counts. Well, today's sponsor, Rocket Money, really helps. It's an incredible app that helps me keep track of every expense. Rocket Money has been a game changer for our Walk with Leah segments. It helps us budget for gas and other travel expenses to ensure that we can continue our journey without financial stress. So to save more and spend less, join the 5 million members using Rocket Money today. Rocket Money has helped save its customers up to $740 a year when they use all the features, with over 500 million in canceled subscriptions. Go to rocketmoney.com/Leah Gordone or click the link in the description to start for free. You can also unlock even more features with premium.
She had a big bubbly personality. So if she was to come in the room, the first thing you'll see is her teeth. She's always smiling, always laughing, just had a beautiful spirit. One thing that I miss most of her, that she was always positive.
Born on November 30th, 2006, Coryonna Young was a bright and loving child. She was always full of energy and had a smile that could light up any room. From a young age, she showed a passion for helping others and had big dreams for her future.
My daughter's name is Coryonna Treasure Young. I named her Coryonna always when I said when I had my first child, I wanted her to have, well, my daughter, I wanted her to have a similarity. I didn't want to name her Courtney, but I felt like Corey, was kind of close to my name, as close as I can get. So that's why I named her Coryonna. Treasure. I had a cousin, which her name was Treasure, and I thought that was a beautiful name, and I thought it fit right in with my daughter, especially when I gave birth to her. I decided to name her middle name Treasure.
What was the first things you noticed about her as a child?
Her eyes, beautiful eyes, very sweet. It's so funny you say that. She was, she used to cry all the time, very emotional. But besides all of that, she was a very sweet, sweet baby, real affectionate. That was my baby. She's actually my oldest daughter. She was very overprotective over her siblings. She has left behind two sisters and an older brother. So she was very overprotective over them. She was like a little mini me version of myself. She was very attentive towards her siblings, very hands-on. She was like the second mom of our household. They respected their sister. She gave great advice, and she was just really easy to talk to. And even for myself, for her to be my daughter, she was my motivation. She motivated me and encouraged me in so many ways. In fact, she was one of my children who motivated me to run for city council, which I am serving my third term on Fayetteville City Council. So she played a very instrumental piece in that you running.
What's your favorite memory of her?
So many. But just her corny jokes. She was really corny, but she had a bubbly personality. She thought everything was funny. She had a big bubbly personality. So if she was to come in a room, the first thing you'll see is her teeth. She's always smiling, always laughing, just had a beautiful spirit. She one thing that I miss most of her, that she was always positive. I don't care what it is someone went through or was going through, she always wanted to motivate and encourage them. So that's what I miss most. And I remember most of her, that she always thought positive in any situation.
At 71st High School, she was known for her dedication and her kindness. She was a sophomore and loved her school. Coryonna was involved in various activities and had many friends. According to her mother, she was always eager to learn and excel in her studies.
She wanted to join the Air Force. She was actually, while in school, she was part of the ROTC. So she wanted to join the Air Force. My son wanted to join the Navy, and it's funny because my husband, he was in the Army. So she wanted to join the Air Force, and she wanted to become a pilot. Yeah, she was that one kid that was very adventurous. She enjoyed, she always talked about, when I joined the Air Force, because she teased my son, like, the Navy, the Air Force, the Navy and the military, like, that's nothing. I want to join the Air Force, to jump out of planes, to be a pilot. So she was very adventurous. She enjoyed things like skateboarding. So that was the one kid that really freaked me out a lot, because she just always wanted to just do something adventurous.
What would she be doing today, right now?
Right now, she would be up under me, acting silly, running around the house, dancing, encouraging me to get on one of the TikTok videos, with her. So she loved to do makeup. She loved hair. She was like that little fashionista kid. She also was involved in church. She sung on a choir, so she loved to sing. She was on a praise team. She loved to dance. And she loved God. So she stayed busy. Every week it was something. She ran me and my husband crazy, from going skating every weekend to going to the movies. She just, like I said, had a bubbly personality. She just loved just being out and enjoying herself.
Of course, you said she loved God. What are some other morals and values she learned from you that you saw her display out to the world?
She was always kind.
Mm.
um, Had a heart. She always loved to give. If you was to ask anybody who knew her, they would say, like I mentioned, if they were going through anything, she was that one person where they'll go and talk to just to be encouraged. So that was one thing that I really admire about her, is that, like I said, she had a positive energy, regards to whatever she was going through or anybody else was going through. And she just loved to help. She loved to bring people together. I remember when she passed away, a few kids that I had met before, cried, like, if it wasn't for her, they mentioned how this one particular girl mentioned how she was, very shy. The young lady, she was very shy in school, and people used to pick on her. And my daughter, Coryonna, she was one of those popular kids, and she had a conversation with her and kind of introduced her to her friends. And the girl said, still to this day, she's popular, and it helped build up her confidence because my daughter noticed her and brought her into the circle. So my daughter, she didn't tolerate bully. She was very overprotective of people. She found the good in everybody. So that's one thing that really, bring back memories of how her personality was. Again, she just loved bringing people together and making people happy. That was what she enjoyed doing, is going into a room and making people happy and smiling.
Coryonna's relationship with her boyfriend seemed typical of many teenagers. He appeared respectful and was welcomed by her family. However, there were hidden aspects of his past that the family was unaware of. It wasn't until after the tragic incident that Coryonna's mother learned from his father about his troubled past with guns.
So the person who shot my daughter, they were friends. They actually were dating. So that was someone that she was dating, someone she went to school with, someone she's been knowing for some time. I've met him a few times. I didn't know my daughter was, I was aware of her dating him. I took him to church, before. Um, he seemed like a nice kid, but seemed like in the past he may have got himself in some trouble. But I was giving him the benefit of the doubt. But he was always very respectful around me. Again, I took him to church twice, took his cousin to church. He seemed very respectful, like he mentioned he got his, used to get into fights back in, back home, and he moved with his dad. And he's been doing better to start his life around. So again, I've taken him to church. He seemed very respectful. And like I said, I believe in giving people, a benefit of the doubt. And yeah, but his dad never mentioned anything, about any trouble or anything. I hadn't heard anything, um, about him.
Coryonna was just 15 years old when her life was tragically cut short. The neighborhood not far from Cliffdale Road in West Fayetteville is typically quiet and peaceful. Residents in the area who lived on the same street where the incident occurred recall seeing a group of young people, including Coryonna, happily practicing their marching drills. It appeared they were prepping for Air Force Junior ROTC. But tragically, later that day, on October 21st, 2022, officers in EMS responded to a report of a shooting. Despite their quick response, Coryonna was found shot in the home. According to her boyfriend, he accidentally shot her while playing with a firearm. Sadly, Coryonna was pronounced deceased at the scene.
Yes, I remember it just like it was yesterday. So I was here out in our community. So we have, with some people from church, one of the members live out here, and they had a paint party. So I attended the paint party. My daughter, once she supposed to got out of school, she claimed that she had ROTC practice. So that's what she told me. She had ROTC practice, and come to find out, she was not in practice. She was at this young man's house. Now leading to that morning, I just remember, we always have pep talks before she go off to school, as well as any of my children. We sit, talk, I wish them, a wonderful day at school. So we pretty much just had a small conversation. As always, I told her I love her. She kissed me, told her have a blessed day, and she went on her went on her way. And that was the last time that I physically saw my daughter, hugged my daughter, kissed her, and told her how much I love her. The day that I found out that my daughter passed, so backtracking. So I had left the paint event that my church members had here out in our community. I came home, my husband picked me up, I came home, and we saw a black car in front of our home. So at the time I'm thinking, okay, my son's ordered, Uber or something. Ordered what they call, ordering something to eat. So we were thinking that, my son ordered some food. Then we looked up, getting out the car, we saw two detectives on our porch, and they questioned me, asking me, asked my name. And when they asked me that, they asked me where was my daughter. And when they said that, I was in shock, like, she should be here. What do you mean? Where's my daughter? And they asked me if I can come into the house. Can they talk to me? And when, I've watched movies before, when they ask you to come to the house, it's not good. So that's when they explained to me that my daughter had passed away. So I asked them, where is she? Because again, I'm thinking that, she was at school. So from school and she's not home, I'm like, where did this take place? And they told me. So by the time they gathered information and they left, I went to that location where they told me my daughter passed away. And at that time, they had everything blocked off and yellow tape. And she was still in a house. Her body was still in a home. So I didn't see the young guy who shot my daughter, but saw the father, and the father did come over to me, and he said how sorry he was. So yeah, so the father said how sorry he was, and the hardest thing is that his father knew that he had a gun. His father took that same gun away from his son and allegedly hid it. And that's that same gun that my daughter ended up losing her life for. So that's what hurt. And I believe that's why the father kept saying, I'm so sorry, because he knew that same gun he took away from his son and hid it. And what he said, he took it and he hid it. And somehow his son got that very same gun back.
Do he know how his son got in possession of the gun? for him to hide it in the first place?
No, he claims he didn't know. I didn't have a conversation with him. Detective said he did not know and that it was a ghost gun. And at the time, I have never heard of a ghost gun. I'm like, what is a ghost gun? And that's when they explained to me that a ghost gun is guns that cannot be traced. They printed out different parts of a guns and put it, kind of like put it together. um and anybody can have access to get these guns and they're untraceable. So that's when I started doing research with those guns. So as of now, we don't know where that gun came from. The detectives, maybe, I don't know, but it'll be kind of he say she say, because there's no serial numbers on those guns. So I don't know if it was his gun, his daddy gun, if he got it from a friend. I have no idea. I just know that that was the weapon that took my daughter's life.
When the incident happened, did he get arrested right away?
He did. From my
Mhm.
knowledge, he did get arrested right away. Well, I can say taken in for questions, I would
Okay.
say.
And they're saying it's accidental?
Yes, the detectives said that it was they truly believe that it wasn't an accident. My daughter, allegedly, she was at his home again, told me that she was had ROTC after school, but she was over to his home, and allegedly he was playing with the gun, and the gun went off and shot and killed her.
During the investigation, did they tell you what all they did to prove that it was just an accident?
That was kind of blurred for me, because at the time, I'm sorry, I mean, I was
It's
get
okay.
emotional, but I don't really recall them saying or showing any true evidence that actually happened, but they did say that from the information, everything that they gathered, it looks as if it was, and plus going off of his statement, that it was an accident.
Hmm.
Yeah, and at the time, grieving, I'm grieving my husband, my son. My son had just came back home from the Navy. He was actually in boot camp, so he just literally came home before he went off to Japan. So that was a time where my children, we were all together, and um, you know, we're grieving. And again, I have two other daughters, so it was me trying to be strong for my other children, my husband. So I think really at that time it was like, regardless of what took place, my daughter is no longer here, and it's nothing that can be done. So I think that's how I felt at that moment. Like, I don't care how it happened, when it was like my daughter's no longer coming back here. So it was anger, hurt, and grief.
The investigation into Coryonna's death revealed a troubling detail. The gun used was a ghost gun, an untraceable firearm assembled from parts purchased online. However, the case was closed quickly as it was reported to be accidental. Although no charges were filed in 2022, her boyfriend continues to pose online with firearms.
Ghost gun. I'm like, what's that? And this is something that's been going around, for years. It's just now increasing here in North Carolina, but in other big metropolitan places, it's been going on for years. My goal is to just connect with other organizations. Again, the resolution is being sent up to the state, federal government. On yesterday, I was just in Raleigh talking to our new governor and other elected officials about the seriousness of this. And our governor, now I can say it's our governor, that's something that he's actually been advocating for, along with I think, like, I want to say like 42 other attorneys to take it to Supreme Court to try to get it resolved. I think he went to the circuit court, but now we're trying to get it to go up to the Supreme Court. So I can say that there has been some push forward and just trying to get other communities to back us on it so that it can hopefully be on a federal level where every state will be regulated with these.
And I do have just a few more questions. Being that, you say he is free, have you seen him do this again, or anybody seen him do this again with the guns playing around?
That's the sad part. What reminds me of my daughter, now that I'm thinking about it, that we always have, for me and her both, a forgiving heart. So even when it took place, I prayed for that young man. I actually went to his home and prayed for him. My husband was like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" You know, but that was something on my heart. So I prayed for him, and then especially hearing that it was a mistake, even though he had no business with a gun. He said it was an accident. The detective said it was an accident. So if it was something, an accident, I want to pray for you. I forgive you. I'm upset. I'm hurt, but I do, forgive you. And that's how my daughter was very forgiving. But anyway, let me get back to the question that you asked. What hurt it the most is that I had a few people send me a video or video and photos of him holding guns, playing, making videos, guns, and I'm just like, that really, really pissed me off because I'm like, I forgave you, and you took my daughter away from me. And yet you have the audacity to continue to do the same thing. So you are not remorseful for what you've done. Because if you were, you wouldn't even want to be around a gun, period, let alone pick up one when you allegedly had one in your hand and accidentally took my daughter away from us. And yet you're still doing the same thing. So out of anything, that's what hurt the most because I forgave him. And yet he's still doing the same thing and he's out scot-free.
Do you think if you submit that they can reopen the case and maybe investigate further?
From what I was told is that everything is statutory limitation. At the time he was on probation for like a year and a half, and that when I got that information, it was after that year and a half mark, or whatever time that it was. So it's like now he's done his probation. So now it's just, I think like a hit and miss. I've been kind of back and forth trying to, get myself mentally prepared for it because I think a lot of things I could have done, but I wasn't aware. This is the first time something like this happened to our family. We're grieving. It's like opening up that wound again. Like I don't like to get emotional and cry, so it's like reliving, rehashing that all over again. And just wondering like, okay, will they give him another pass, even if all of this information is even provided to them? And that's, to me, I feel like it's gonna hurt even more, so, but I think I'm building up strength.
What do you think she would have want you to do right now?
I have no idea. I thought about that, like, what would she want? What would she want? I can't say. The only thing that I think is that forgive, because that's how she was. She was known to forgive people and try to think of the positive. And again, I don't know how, you will see any positive come from this. But it's more me focusing on giving back to the community, opening up, starting a nonprofit, for her. I think that I know that she would be pleased with that because, again, she loves community service. So I think she would want me to just continue to advocate for her, talk to um, the youth, and hope that they don't go that route, and to just keep her, um, keep her legacy alive.
What advice could you give a parent that is going through this?
Whew. Pray, um, get a support system, um, therapy, um, and just know God doesn't make any mistakes. And I would tell parents that still have their children that's alive, make memories. Me and my daughter, we had a wonderful relationship. I have a great relationship with all my children. We're very open, we talk, we're very close. We enjoy making memories, whether it's videos, us traveling, them coming to my room, laying in my bed, watching TV. So that's something that I've always did with my children. So that's one thing that gives me joy, knowing that we made memories. And knowing that my daughter knew I loved her unconditionally, and I knew that she loved me unconditionally. So that's what keeps me grounded. And that's what I would say to any parents that's going through that. Just think about the memories, the good memories that you share with your child. I would also say, um, be mindful who your children are around, and we think the world of our kids, like our kids can't do any wrong. With my daughter, she stayed in everything that I can think of. I was signing her up. I'm signing her up for this. I'm signing her up for that. Whether it was church, whether it was different organizations. I tried to keep my children busy. We traveled a lot, and just one stupid or reckless decision can cause a world of trouble. It can impact not just you, but your family, your community. So that's what I would tell the parents. Just keep an eye on your children, pray over, because again, once they walk out our doors, we don't know what they're getting themselves. And again, like I mentioned, my daughter, told me that she was going to ROTC. They had a practice after school, which they sometimes do, So not putting your trust in your children. You gotta ride up on, roll up on them to verify some things. So yes, that's what I would tell parents. And just remember, we were all young before, so we snuck and done things that we had no business doing, because I know for a moment I hated myself. I hated myself because I'm like, wow, I'm out here in the community trying to save other kids. My daughter was aware, fighting for her life. So for a moment, I really hated myself for that.
Whew. But you cannot blame yourself.
Right. Yeah. But that's how, that's how I felt.
Whew.
Yeah. So, and I would just say to family members or friends, if you know someone that or love that's experiencing a death, they don't even have to necessarily be a child, it can be a spouse or whatever. Check in on, because we need you. I would say check in on the ones you believe that's strong, because when I'm out, I'm still out in the community. I'm still on council. I'm still working for my city and for the state. And when I show up, I'm not showing up with tears. You know what I'm saying? I'm showing up as, hey, I'm here to do the job, but behind closed doors. Or when I'm having conversations, this is how I feel inside. But at the end of the day, it's like you gotta wipe the tears, keep it moving. And so, like I said, I would tell anybody check up on the ones who you think are the strongest and be supportive. Be supportive. And supportive doesn't mean you have to call 24/7 or pop up on them. It could just be a text, It could just be uh don't even open up your mouth and say nothing, just a hug. So and a lot of people forget that, and you don't realize that till it happened to you, because I know people who lost not their children but spouses and things like that, and I dropped the ball for not reaching out to make sure that they're okay, because we're living our day-to-day lives, but it's so many people that are struggling and going through things, and that just also made me look at life different, you know, and I'm so thankful that God gives me the strength and keep me, keep my mind, you know, together, because one thing that I think about from time to time, and I pray for everybody, I'm like, it's somebody who's going through this. I thank God that I have my husband. I thank God that I have my other children and my family. Now, don't get me wrong, every kid is different. Like Coryonna, that was my baby. You know what I'm saying? Every kid is different. I love them all, but they're different. And we lost a piece, of a puzzle, you know what I'm saying? And again, it's somebody going through that could have been their only child. Or they could have been a single parent raising their child, and it's something that they have to deal with. And for me, again, I have a spouse, I have children, I have a community that supports me wholeheartedly, So I'm praying for those who are experiencing this by themselves. Even if you're not by yourself, you're just struggling. Get some help. Don't act like you have it together when you don't, because it'll show. It will show in your face on the way you move. It will definitely show. I go back and I'm like, oh my God, I got humongous bags. Like I look. I used to wear no, I mean, because when we stress, it shows up. I used to wear lashes. I don't even wear no more because I'm always, crying. I hardly mascara, because I have my moments where I'm crying, and also realizing that it's okay to cry. And I would tell and I would tell the mothers who experienced that, like, it's okay to cry. For a long time, I'll be boo-hooing and I'll hear my kids coming. I'm like, okay, pull it together. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I can't do this no more. I mean, times where I literally call my daughter, like, hey, come in here, come hug me, come let me lay on your lap, and they comfort me, so that support system makes a difference. But again, it hurt like hell.
Absolutely.
To lose a child when they had goals and dreams, we think, when we prepare for life, it's like, oh, let me get my insurance right. Let me put money to the side so if something happened to me, my kids would be upset, And this was the other way around. I never prepared for losing any of my children or even my spouse. I think of, if something happened to me, this is what's going to take place. They'll be okay, but not the other way around.
How's the family today with her passing?
My family would never be the same, because we were in a house, it was 6 of us. Now we got a big house where it's empty, it's quiet, like my daughter was like me, loud, come in the room, hey, real loud, bubbly personality. So for a while, we didn't know. It was like we had to start over again. Like, what is a family when you missing a piece? Like, it was hard. My daughter is in middle school. So a lot of people that knew my oldest daughter knows my daughter. So imagine, and they all went to the same school. So imagine you grieving and you got to go to school, because guess what? Life goes on. You still got to go to school. You can't stay in your room forever. My children still have to go to school. Guess what? They're seeing their friends. Hey, you okay? You okay? I'm sorry. I know what happened to your sister. Teachers, come here. Come give me a hug. I'm so sorry. Everybody. And don't get me wrong, that's a blessing to have the support. But if you're in a happy mood, imagine if you're a kid, somebody running up to you, crying or hugging you because you're hurting. And guess what? They're hurting too, because they knew your sister. Where we go, whether it's church, they know my daughter. And I thank God for my church. They put together, my daughter was in the Girl Scouts. They put together a beautiful garden in our church, at our church. So when we go to church every Sunday, that garden is there. It's a reminder. When I see girls that went to school with my daughter or was a part of Girl Scout or cheer team or what have you, I think about my daughter. And I'm sitting in a car, the other day I was sitting in a car and I saw a lady get out the car. What I'm assuming it was her daughter. And I'm just like, wow, that could have been, that's supposed to be me and my daughter driving me around to town. So my children, they go through it, but we've come a long way. We come a long ways. Just today, a couple of days ago, I had an interview. So guess what? We're watching the news. They see that come on the news. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a reminder, but they're doing better. They're doing
What can we do to do this the right way and to help the right way?
give people time, because again, I know originally a lot of people were reaching out. And again, people don't know what to do. You know what I'm saying? People don't know how to show up for other people when they're hurting and they're grieving. One thing I want to say that irks me, and I've had other people say the same thing because I've connected with a few other women who lost their child. Please don't say this, people. When we have conversation, they say, "Oh, I can imagine how you feel. I lost my mom." Different. I lost my spouse. I lost my baby. It's not the same. And they don't mean it. You genuinely know that they don't mean it, but please don't say that, because it's not the same. It's no comparison. It's not the same. Your mother, your child. You know what I'm saying? Big difference. They both hurt, but it's totally different. You can't compare the two. Just don't ask, how you doing? Happy, like, how do you think? No, seriously, like, how? But again, people don't know. They don't know. They mean well. Just say, hey, baby, I'm here for you if you need me. I'm only a call away. You can call me. You can just breathe on the phone. If you want to come to my house, scream, whatever. A good friend of mine, she was like, listen, one day she said, you want me to, because I was like, I just want to scream. But I'm like, if I scream, people will come running from everywhere. And she was like, I'll come and get you and I'll roll my window down and I'll drive and you can just stick your head out the window and scream. And I'm like, really? You'll do that for me? So who would think something like that would be so therapeutic? And people don't know what to do. My husband, Lord, I thank him. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know how to show up for me. I didn't know how to show up for him. For those who experience death, from a loved one, just like you expect people to show up for you, you got to show up for yourself and express what you expect from them. Because I had to explain to my husband, baby, if you see me laying on the floor, boo-hooing, screaming, step over me. Ask me, am I okay? If I give you the thumbs up, keep it moving. Don't cover me. Don't let me be. And when I get it together and pull myself back up, I'll be okay. But give me my space. So I think those who are grieving, we have to do better with expressing what we expect from people, or what we want from people to give us comfort, because for me, I don't want anybody to say nothing, just hug me or just sit there with me and just be quiet until I finish crying, So, but everybody want people to show up different. But pray for them,
Absolutely.
you can't go wrong with praying for people. So I do know when my daughter passed away, I do know that they did have a social worker or a therapist on site for students for a while. And the thing with that, I think they had a contract with someone. Parents and students were not, didn't request any therapy or to talk with them. And sometimes a lot of times people say um you know you can shed a few tears and keep it moving. It'll be okay. My daughter was just telling me the other day how um she used to, feel some kind of way going to church when she see kids that know her and they'll just break down crying. And I know a few kids who, after she passed away and still to this day, are going to therapy just because they had a relationship with her and that was their friend. So I can only imagine how many other kids who've experienced, like her best friend. That's something that's probably gonna haunt her for the rest of her life. That was her best friend. They did everything, together. Her 2-year anniversary just passed October 21st. And I actually went and talked to a group of at-risk youth. And it's something I do quite often anyway before she passed away. But I talked to some at-risk youth actually on her anniversary. And that's my goal, is to continue to keep talking to them, possibly take them on, not possibly, I am going to take them on trips to get them away from, this different environments. So it's a lot of things that I really want to do just as a mother and an advocate. On a city level, that's a whole nother thing. I'm working on, putting policies in place. Like I said, on the Governor's Crime Commission, trying to put policy in place. But as a mother, I definitely want to do something different, honoring my daughter, so that would be really appreciative. And again, it'll go back to our community, especially like at-risk children. And also and when I say that too, like a lot of times people ask me as a mother, how are you doing? They forget that my daughter had siblings, so I'm wanting to do something for children who lost their siblings. People don't think about that. And again, I would have never thought about that until it happened to me, and witnessing what my children go through, so and creating a safe space, for them, because my daughter, she's 14 now. My daughter would have been 18. So of course, who wouldn't love to go to their sister and get advice on boys, or they shouldn't be talking about boys, but just on boys or bullying or whatever it is, now she's having to navigate and find her way. I'm 41 years old and I have a sister, and I'm just like, I look forward to calling her when stuff go on, like, sister, guess what? Guess what took place, with me today, or guess what I'm going through, or I'm so happy about this. So it's kids out here that they don't have an outlet to probably have those, conversations with, and they need somebody to check up on them. So I want to do something. Well, I keep saying want to. I am going to do. I'm speaking in existence. I am going to do something geared towards that. And I also thank you, you too, for reaching out to me and connecting with other, mothers, and keeping people afloat of what's going on in their communities, because a lot of times we don't know what's going on if we're not out there, or we hadn't experienced. We don't know.
The type of girls and women we talk about,
it is not people that is in the street life or anything like that. These are college educated, business minded scholars, high school cheerleaders. You know, it's so crazy.
Mhm. And it is. And before then, I mean, I can truly be honest and say that when I, and it's sad to say, but this is the honest to God truth. When I used to hear stories of, oh, this kid got shot at this, and I'm like, they was doing something they had no business, you know, not to say that they deserve to lose their life, but in my mind, it was because you, I don't want to say, well, kind of, well, yeah, you put yourself in that situation, but at the same time, my daughter put herself in a situation. And, you know, she was a Honor Roll student. We go to church on Sunday, you know, we do, you know, a lot of positive things, but it's about, at the end of the day, it can be your environment you in. It can be you just in the wrong place at the place at the wrong time. It can even be you just being reckless and just making a stupid decision, that one little stupid decision, you know. And I mean, even I'm an adult and I'm sometimes make stupid decisions, you know. So these are youth, and we just have to, as parents, as a community, we just have to do, or at least try to do better with making sure that we're monitoring our youth and mentoring them and making sure if we see something, we say something. I don't care if it's your kid or not. If you see a kid doing something they don't have no business doing, with love, pull that kid to the side and have a conversation, because I think we don't do that like how we used to do. When we saw kids doing something wrong, oh, you was gonna get checked right there on site. They was calling your mom, but they was, you know, now I don't think we're not connected like how we used to be. The average person probably don't even know who their next door neighbor is or another person across the street. Where back in the day, we knew phone numbers. We knew each other. We went over there to ask for butter, whatever. Like we had a close knit community, and I think we just got to do better with that. And even as students, you know, like we talk about students or kids just being bad, doing this and doing that, you know, let's highlight some of the great things that kids are doing out there in the community also, you know. I think sometimes when you reward and show compassion and love, I think that can kind of change children's mindset. And thank you again for everything that you're doing. I pray that God continue to keep blessing you, to reach out to other parents. I mean, it's unfortunate, the situations, and even possibly, I hope you run into some stories where it could have ended up in a tragic situation, but it didn't end up coming something positive. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one thing to hear sad stories, but okay, behind all of that, you know, some good, you know.
Make that my mission.
Yeah, I mean, because you know, it's you know, like, what if, you know, if you would have went this route, but now look, you didn't go that route, and look what, you know, what took place. And that's why I say, you know, with my daughter's story, you know, I hate that it was her, or I would hate for it to be anybody, but what am I gonna do with the situation that took place? You know, we lost one life, but guess what? My goal is to save many more, you know, save other lives, you know. So that's my goal. And I just want to say this to the people that's, you know, that's listening. And it's not a threat or anything like that, but don't think that this can't happen to you or somebody you love. Do not be naive, because I was. So I will leave with that. Do not think that it cannot happen to you. I hope it doesn't, but don't think that it can't. So you guys might want to be, well, no, you guys need to be precautious around the people that you surround yourself with, because that play a major role. I'll go back a little bit. So I'm from Detroit. Anybody know anything about Detroit? Are you from Detroit? Hey, look. Look. But
when some people hear about Detroit, what's the first thing you hear? Guns, violence. And I grew up in that area, you know what I'm saying? I grew up there. That's why I spent most of my life until I went off